This Not Suitable for Squeamish People podcast is brought to you by Audible. Head over to audibletrial.com/jumbled and get your free 30-day trial and a free audiobook about anything that you could imagine beside for the things that we discuss in this podcast. Actually, you might want to just go ahead as a bit of a relief for your ears. Just go ahead and head over and grab something. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Jumbled, your favorite podcast about nothing. I'm the birthday boy, Zach.
Oh, you stole my thunder. I'm thunderless John. I was going to wish you a happy birthday, but...
Well, you can still wish me a happy birthday.
No, I can't, because you made it all about you.
Hey, listen, man. It is all about me today, dude.
What,
it's my
some
birthday,
kind of
man.
special day that you only get once a year or something?
Yeah, man. Listen, dude. I actually don't put a lot of weight on my birthday, so... You know what? Let's run it back. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Jumbled, your favorite podcast about nothing. I'm just regular old dirtbag shithead Zach.
You're forgiven. I'm forgiveful Johnny. Happy birthday, Zach.
Thanks, buddy.
Did you have a good day? Did you go to work today?
Dude, it was actually a really stupid day.
Like busy or dumb, frustrating, annoying, all of the above?
No, not like I mean, it was busy because it was dumb, because it was stupid. So the day started out. I had to, as everybody, yep,
hand jobs in bed,
and then it was just stressful because it was just painful the rest of the day. Is that what you're getting at here?
I don't know. Maybe you finished and it was a great day.
Speaking, I want to circle back around to that, Johnny. But you brought up hand jobs, and I can't go any further.
Hey, I made a promise
what?
And I delivered, and actually I feel bad because I did not send that one to Lacey, but I probably should have.
100% you should have.
But I told you I was going to find stuff and send it to you.
Okay. But, okay, you didn't... Look, I don't know if you were looking for birthday gifts for me. I don't need birthday gifts. That's not something I honestly didn't even get a birthday gift this year, and I don't even want it. I got Mexican food tonight, but if you want to get me one birthday gift, never send me a clip that has the word barbaric in it anymore.
Wait, like any kind of clip? Because like barbarians could be pretty cool. It could be like video games. It could be a good movie.
Okay. Don't send me any X-rated material with the word barbaric in it. Okay.
I think what Zach is being coy about was I sent him a romantic short film.
Romantic? Is that how you describe that?
Romantic short film of a minorly aggressive manual stimulation.
Oh my God. Okay.
Genitalia.
All right, guys. I wanna just say, if you are underage right now, fast forward. I'm gonna try to make this quick. Fast forward like 3 minutes.
I think we should do like a really deep video breakdown of this. Honestly, like
check out our YouTube channel. We're gonna get flagged. We're gonna get taken down.
No attention is bad attention, or all attention is good attention. How does that work? I don't know.
You know what? I might record a reaction of myself watching that video.
Can you actually? Like, did you click the link, or you just saw the headline and you didn't even the title?
No, I watched the beginning of it. I was really confused, and then I fast forwarded after you said some specific words, and then
look how flat his testicles got.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I didn't want to give it away.
You're into that sick shit, you gross bastard.
You watched it too, man. Okay.
I sure did. Science. In the name of science.
I had an inverted boner, dude. Like, it went up inside of me. It hid.
Mine still hasn't come back. It's just inside. It's all of my male genitalia. There's just a crater there now.
You know how, like, if you're watching a scary movie, like an especially scary movie, like, and you got some covers, like, and you retreat under the covers.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, that's what happened with my cash and prizes. Okay,
Cash and prizes. I like that.
Yeah.
Cash and prizes, baby. Winning big. I did just come back from Vegas, and I brought back 0 cash or prizes, and I'm...
We can get into that momentarily, but I do want to dive shortly into this. So like I said, if you're underage, don't want to stress this enough. Stop listening for the next 4 or 5 minutes.
If you're underage or my mom.
Okay, so starts out, this guy's just laying on his back, right? He's already fully erect. Okay? He's got 2 pieces of looks like acrylic
Plexiglass acrylic,
stuff.
Something, yeah.
And he shoved his junk up through one of them.
His testicles.
Well, it wasn't just like he had to shove all of it through the first part, and then just the shaft through the second part. And then on each corner he had bolts, like stainless steel bolts, run through each piece of acrylic, and then wing nuts on each of the bolts. And sandwiched in between these 2 plexiglass sheets were his testicles.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Now, if you are if you're like me, like at this point, I am like almost sympathizing with this guy, like feeling really bad for him. And I'm not gonna lie, I did turn it off pretty much right away at the beginning.
Yeah,
and
but
it took me some courage.
Got the better of you, and you came back. They always come back.
And so she's got like, well, first of all, it looks like they've been going for like 3 or 4 hours already. This dude looks like he's
exhausted.
Nearly exhausted, and he's nearly bleeding out of his. All
right, okay.
It looked
you wanted
really
to go over
red
this quickly, and you're almost going scene by scene.
It looked really red, but anyway, and then she just begins tightening.
Yeah, slow,
and
continuous pressure while manually stimulating his penis. I didn't know that it was possible for testicles to get that flat.
I expected for it. For something catastrophic. I expected something catastrophic to happen.
What amazes me, I don't know what amazes me more. The fact that she could keep tightening those wing nuts to the point where his testicles were so flat. I mean, like less than 1/4 of an inch flat. Maybe 3/16 of an inch flat.
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
like,
I think
terrifying. I don't know if that was more impressive, that he was into that, or that he maintained somewhat of an erection during this.
Yeah, I don't know how, like, he didn't haul off and sock this lady in the face.
Some people are into things, man.
I guess, but that's like
his jam. Who are you to judge his sexual desires, Zach?
I'm not judging. I'm just saying.
Fuck.
I'm staying as far away from that scenario as I can.
Well, I have bad news for you tonight, because I sent Steph that video and a set of handcuffs, and was like, yo, Zach will never admit this, but this is what he really wants. So start slow, handcuff him to the bed, and then pull out the vice grips and just go to town, baby.
Oh, is that what that Amazon package was?
Yeah.
Man,
the one that said, Zach, do not open no matter what.
Oh, God.
Some good old testy clamps and some handcuffs. It's going to be a good night for you. I can't wait to participate.
Happy birthday.
Oh,
Jesus Christ.
Nothing says happy birthday like a ruptured scrotum. Honest, like you will never forget this birthday after tonight.
No, I don't think for good reasons. This will be like the turning point of my life, like where everything just starts going downhill.
Potentially, because you might fall in love with it and you'll become like a weird sex addict, and then you'll just be you'll be slamming them in doors and shit before you know it, just getting off.
Eventually, I'm just a lump. Like, I'm just a lump of a person.
They're just going to mold them into one testicle. You know when you have like a bar
just a bunch of silicon. Just get a bunch of silicon.
Yeah, but you know when you have like a bar of soap and you use it and it's just like paper thin and it's annoying to use? So you get a brand new bar of soap and then you get them wet and you just squeeze them together?
Yeah.
That's what's going to happen to your testes, and you're going to have one mega testy. I'm excited for you, man. This could be the next evolution for humanity.
This is a turning point. It
is. Love is sacrifice, Zach.
Hey, I leave it out. I'll leave it all on the line.
That a boy. I'm proud of you. Happy birthday, Zach.
Yeah, thanks.
I'm glad you got Mexican food. What did you get to eat?
Well, I feel like this is a bad time to just start talking about anything else, because how do we move on from
we just did.
mega testy?
One mega testy to one mega burrito? Did you
No,
get...
I had an enchilada platter thing.
Nice. It's a good call. I'm glad that you... Was it like authentic Mexican or was it like American Mexican?
I would say it's probably more American Mexican. I don't know that it was...
So you went to Taco Bell?
No, I mean, it wasn't like fast food Mexican. You know what
I know,
I'm
just being a dick. I'm sorry.
But then again, I don't know that I've had like places that say they're authentic. This place is definitely a little bit more mainstream. It's not like a hole in the wall joint or anything.
I love hole in the wall joints, man. Though, like, my favorite.
Do they have a lot of Mexican food up in Canada?
That is one thing that is actually really hard to find here. We have a lot of poshy Mexican food, which is very kind of white people bastardizing Mexican. Like, tacos are really big. I think tacos are always really big, but they're really kind of popular with the hipsters right now. So there's a bunch of like super hipster taco bars popping up.
People with curly mustaches serving you tacos.
Yeah. Like not one Mexican dude in the entire build. That's like my criteria when I go to a like an ethnic restaurant, because I live in the Northeast, which is the northeast part of, or the ethnic part of Calgary, sorry. And one of the reasons why I choose to live here is because there's so much cultural diversity and I love it. And I love the food. I judge a restaurant when I try a new restaurant based on the white person to non-white person ratio. And if I walk into a restaurant and I'm the only white person walking, like I'm the only white person in there and I get some weird looks, I know I found a banging place.
Yeah. You're like, listen, listen, Tyler, can I speak to Juan? Is it Juan here? Do you have Juan here?
Juan?
No, well, we have George. No, not George. Not Richard either. Don't send me out Juan or Hector.
Yeah,
like I need to talk to somebody who knows what they're talking about.
And I have found some of my favorite my favorite all-time restaurants, and you just keep going, and then people start accepting, like, damn, this white boy's crazy. He loves this spicy food. I'm like, I sure do. I pay for it later, but I'll eat the shit out of it.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, I have not been able to find good, authentic, like Mexican or Latino food, Spanish food. There was a place that I heard was really good, and then it got closed down. And from my understanding, that there was some like gang relation to it. So then it's real good. So I was kind of sad I missed out on that. But there's one that I won't name that's downtown Calgary was getting like really good reviews, and it was very poshy. And Al and I were like, hey, let's go on a date night. Let's go get some cool food. They say it's fairly authentic, blah, blah, blah. It's going to be awesome. So I got pretty excited. And I called ahead, and I could kind of tell that it was a little bit of a loud atmosphere. And I'm, partially deaf. So I nicely said, hey, I have some hearing challenges. You guys are clearly really popular. Is there a corner table somewhere that I can sit that will be somewhat quiet so that I can, hear my fiance and we can have like a nice dinner? And she's like, oh yeah, absolutely. We can accommodate you. I'll reserve this table. It's like kitty corner to the bar. So it's far from the bar. It's fairly quiet. I'm sure it'll work for you. And I was like, okay, great. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Gave my information, show up the next day, and say, hey, it's John. I have a reservation. I was told I was going to get a corner table. Blah, blah, blah. And she's like, oh, we reserved you in like this big group table. So in the center of the restaurant, they have this giant table with high stools. And basically, it's kind of like family style sitting. Like it's a giant. So I'm sitting next to strangers, right? And I'm in the center of the room, and it's incredibly loud. And I'm irritated, but I was like, okay, well, I'll try this. And Al's trying to talk to me, and she can tell that I'm not picking up anything she can really say, and I'm like kind of reading her lips, but it's just annoying. So our server comes by, and he comes to take our water, and at the same time, I kind of see like some tables off to the side starting to shuffle, like they're getting ready to go. And I was like, hey, man, is it possible? Like when I booked the reservation, I asked to be on a table at this side. Is it possible to move over once the table clears up? And like, if it's a different section, I'll prepay for food, whatever. And he's like, oh yeah, why do you need to move? And I was like, oh, I'm really hard of hearing, and I can't really hear Allie. And he did like the stereotypical like what, and like put his hand to his ear and like pretended to be deaf
and then,
joke. And I didn't say anything at first. I was pissed, but Al is quite a fiery lady. And she was really pissed, and we just left. I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna leave. Like, I just got up. I put down like $20 or something for our drinks. I don't even know what they cost. It was less than $20, but I just like threw it down and just got up and fucking left. And I will never go back to that restaurant again. And people were like, oh, it's so good. The food is great. And I was like, I don't care. I will never go. And I think Al messaged them or said something, and they were apologetic or something. But I was just like, you're not worth my time. I'll find a place that, like a table mix up, whatever. Like I get that if it's a shift change and you didn't save the note or you didn't make the note, whatever, like shit happens. But then when I asked to move and you make like a shitty deaf joke, it's just poor taste at this supposed to be like high class kind of Spanish style restaurant. It's like, fuck you guys.
Yeah, that's super shitty, dude. Like, I don't know. Like, that's almost like, because I bet that dude's still probably working there. You know what I'm saying? Like,
probably, yeah, maybe.
I would have made a bigger scene of it. You know, like I would have just said, you know what, we're done. Here, we'll pay out. Where's your manager? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's at that point, that's when you just sort of have to crack it, because he's just gonna keep doing stupid shit.
Yeah,
you know?
At the end of the day too, like I thought about it because I got kind of fired. I got more fired up. Like I'm a very slow burn anger, so I was like irritated to the point where I was like, okay, I just want to remove myself from the situation. And then and I was also hangry, and I was really excited for this food. So there's a whole bunch of emotions. You know, I'm very passionate about my food.
Right.
And I don't even remember where we ended up going, but we found a place and it was good. And I got like more angry where I was like, I should have fucking said something. I should have told him off or whatever. And then once I calmed down, I was like, at the end of the day, this dude is, you know, working as a server. And I'm not talking poorly about servers. I'm just saying he's working as a server. He's likely, you know, in university or trying to get, or just graduated university, getting his shit together. Right. Is this worth having, like, the negative impact on his life was a lot greater had he lost his job, I imagine, than a shitty comment to me and me having to, you know, walk down the block and find a different restaurant to eat at. So I'm kind of glad I didn't, but you make a good point that he, at some point, you know, he probably needs to figure that out. And it was probably just a maturity thing. And I don't know. I just was like, is it worth the effort? Is it worth me being this upset over? It's poor taste, but there were a lot other people who, you know, have a lot bigger challenges in life, and I don't want to be a complainer. And maybe I'm adding to those challenges by not saying something. I don't know. I'm just not really a complainer in general.
Yeah,
but
I can relate.
I will boycott that restaurant, and anytime someone brings it up, I will boycott it. And I hope that, you know, that's my little bit of fuck you.
Yeah, well, you know, that's sort of like the worst thing that could have happened, honestly, to that establishment, is to treat somebody poorly enough where they leave and then never want to come back. Because then those people are going to, like you said, tell everybody else, hey, don't go to this restaurant. Word of mouth is very powerful. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I don't know. I feel like the universe balances itself out, and it is what it is. We had a good date night, and I was happy, and still on my quest to find solid Mexican food. That's why I love going to the States. That's typically my first, if it's not McDonald's, my first stop is, without a doubt, looking for some solid Mexican food.
Yeah, now that I think about it, there is a hole-in-the-wall joint that me and the wifey went to. I think it was back in the early fall, maybe somewhere September, maybe last year. And it was really good, authentic. Like There were like maybe 3 or 4 like tables at lunch that were there, and it didn't seem like they said like I forget what it was, like a weekend morning or something was like their busiest time. Yeah. So it's like you just know that place is like, in it for the food, and we're in it for the food. So we'll have to figure out what that place is. When you come back into town, we'll go down there.
Well, when I'm in KC, you gotta live up the barbecue.
It's true.
So when I mentally prepare myself for KC and I know I'm going on vacation and I'm prepared to gain 10 pounds in a weekend, I'm thinking barbecue all the way. But
easy to do.
Last time I was there, I did say, barbecue's a pain in the ass. I will eat any Mexican food you shove in my face.
It's true.
No second thoughts about that.
Yeah, and there's a lot of arguments between what's the best barbecue place in KC. Personally, I think for my money, there's a place called Jack Stack. Have you ever had Jack Stack before?
Yeah, we
love Jack Stack.
Where did we go last time I was in town? It wasn't Jack Stack, but there's Jack Stack is in the what's your guys' like cool downtown area called?
Well, there's
Light District, whatever.
Yeah, the Power and Light.
Power and Light, not Red Light District. That's different.
No, yeah, the Red Light District is where you go to pick up those ladies who were giving out the hand jobs in the videos.
The barbaric hand jobs.
the barbaric hand jobs. That's where you go. Like, it has to start there if you're thinking about it. Like, there's just some drugged up lady who's like, "Hey, I've got these 2 pieces of plexiglass
with some wing nuts. You want to give this a run?"
Nuts. Let's. And I've got my auger. Let's just let's make this happen.
Oh man. Well,
Gosh,
you'll have fun tonight. It'll be an experience.
Dude, I would. It would just be. I would not be on the podcast next week, and you would just be like, "Oh, well, Zach's icing his nuts down for the past
the mega nut
7." Sorry, icing his mega nut down and for the past 7 days. Like, you got to figure that dude probably didn't move for the following 2 weeks.
I just imagine just the littlest pressure or grab can be quite uncomfortable. Maybe you just get to a point where it's maximum pain, and then it doesn't matter if you go any tighter. You're in the same amount of pain regardless.
Maybe.
There's only one way to find out, Zach. In the name of science, the listeners have voted, and they want you to try this.
Listeners have voted.
Jonny.jumbled@gmail.com if you want Zach. I should probably check that. I keep throwing that out there. And
yeah, you do. Yeah, listen. I mean, you can't say the users voted and then not have actual users that have voted. Like,
you don't know how I communicate with our listeners?
You've got like a private chat room that you just like. You're like, all right, guys. You're like, it's like a racketeering business. You're like, all right, how many of you guys think that I can?
What can I convince Zach to do for $50? I'm just saying, Zach.
Oh, dude!
If this was on the list for $50,
just vlog the whole thing. No, I wouldn't do it for $50.
What if not that tight, but half the tightness? And it was Stephanie doing it, not me.
No. Half the tightness? Dude, we're talking about a very small, like, half the tightness is still, like, under a half an inch.
Oh, that's true. Ooh. God, okay, let's move on. Speaking of amazing and mega things, like your soon-to-be mega testy, I know you're not a huge UFC fan, but you maybe follow some stuff. Did you hear about the McGregor and Khabib fight announcement?
No, I did not.
So McGregor's
very
coming
intriguing.
back. He's finally going to fight Khabib. They're saying it has the potential to be the biggest UFC pay-per-view ever, which is pretty insane. Khabib has wanted this fight for a long time, and there's a lot of people who've said that McGregor has dodged him because it's a poor style matchup for McGregor. I am incredibly excited. Right now, McGregor is the underdog. Which
he's been out of the game for a bit.
Well, that's the saying, right? Is he's been out, it'll be 2 years.
Yeah, because he
Almost
did
2 years
that.
that he's been
Yeah.
out. And he made $100+ million on his Mayweather fight. He's not hungry. Like, he's not going out there because he needs to feed his family. He's going out there to, for ego, and that can be a huge motivating factor, but that can also be, you could go out there and think I'm the best in the world, because truthfully, he's pound for pound, he's probably in the top 5 all time, and he deserved that, and he earned it, and he works really hard. But I don't know, man. I think you get $100+ million in the bank, and you just kind of start to stop giving a shit. And Khabib is a hungry dude, and that guy's an animal.
It's true. You've got one guy who doesn't really need to prove himself, and not to say that Khabib needs to prove himself. He's a great fighter, but Connor's done it. You know what I'm saying? He's been at the top. He's where do you go from the top? You try boxing, and then boxing didn't really pan out, and now
it panned out. He did all right there, and there were talks we did a breakdown of that fight, so we don't have to get back into it.
No,
I think
but
it went as everyone expected it would.
Mm-hmm.
McGregor landed the highest percentage of shots on Mayweather. That is a win. Yeah. No one really thought he was going to win that fight.
Yeah.
I mean, there were people that were hoping that he would win, but there weren't people who truly was like, okay, let's take someone who has great boxing skills, McGregor, and put him in the ring against the best boxer in the world. Like,
it's true.
Mayweather is probably the best boxer of all time. And there's a big jump between being
statistically.
There's a huge jump in going from great to the best. There are a lot of great boxers out there. Just like there's a huge jump from good to great. You can be a good boxer, but you go against a great boxer, you're gonna look bad. Right?
It's true.
So I don't know. The Khabib fight is gonna be really interesting. It's gonna be really, really interesting. If I had to choose, gun to head, make a decision, no this or that, I would say I think Khabib's going to win.
Do you think it's going to go the distance? You think he's going to get submission? Is he a submission artist, or is he a striker?
No, Khabib is a wrestler, and he will grind the shit out of you. I don't. So here's what the experts are saying, and I'll agree with the experts because it makes sense. They're experts. But I also just philosophically believe. So I don't think Khabib has the ability to knock McGregor out. If Nate Diaz can't knock McGregor out,
it's true.
It's going to be tough for Khabib. But if McGregor doesn't starch Khabib in the first round, maybe the second round, McGregor will lose that fight by decision.
So you think Khabib's got the stamina. He's gonna win. He's gonna win in the stamina.
He's all about the long game and just wrestling, control, grinding you down. He'll land shots, and Khabib can finish fights. Don't get me wrong. There's no doubt that if the right submission comes up, or a choke, or ground and pound game comes up, Khabib can do it. I don't think Khabib has the ability to knock McGregor out standing. Typically, Khabib's game is, dirty boxing, tight control, wrestling, get you to the ground, wear you out, control you, and just slowly pick away at you. And McGregor can defend that for the first couple rounds because he has that heavy-handed striking ability that makes people scared to shoot in on him. But he's notorious for having really bad stamina because McGregor is a finisher. He's a showman, right? He wants to go out. His game plan is, what's your weakness? And I'm going to give 100% into that weakness and pick you apart that way. Where Khabib is, he's the slow burn. He's going to play the long game. And if it goes to the long game, McGregor's going to get gassed out.
Yeah, I could see that. I'm looking up. So Khabib's got a slight edge on height. He's got an inch height on him. Hold on just a second.
What's Khabib's record right now? He's 20-0 or something?
Khabib is 26 and 0.
Yeah, 26-0. Like he's an amazing fighter. And yeah, McGregor has a couple losses, but
They were all early in his career too,
and
right?
he's taken a lot of risky fights. Like he took on Nate Diaz and lost the first one. That happens.
It's true.
That was a big like McGregor will take risks again. That's the showman side of him. And I'm not saying Khabib isn't beating top tier guys because he absolutely is.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just different types of risks. And Khabib is, I think, as much as he's more of a strategist in fighting, I think he's also in fight selection. Though he has definitely said that he would fight McGregor anytime, any place. So we're going to get that fight. I think it's October 6th, which is my grandfather's 80th birthday. So I'm going to the farm for the day, and then I'm rushing back, and I'm actually going to watch the fights with Jer. So
nice.
We'll do maybe we'll do a little bit. We'll record of a breakdown of how we thought the card was.
All right, guys, let's take a second to talk about our sponsor for today's podcast, Audible. Head over to audibletrial.com/jumbled and get your free 30-day trial and a free audiobook. They've got all the books. I've talked about it before. I'll talk about it again. You know what? I don't have a problem saying things over and over again. I've got 2 kids. I do it all the time. The book that we're going to be talking about for the month of August is Failure is an Option by H. John Benjamin. You might know H. John Benjamin mostly from his voice acting stuff. He's been in Bob's Burgers. He's also a star of Archer. And he was also a can of mixed vegetables in 2015's Wet Hot American Summer. Might have caught that on Netflix. He's just wanting to remind you that as much of a success as you might be, there's going to be some failures as well. Some of the ones that he talks about would be work, where he's unable to deliver a sizzling fajita to his family, where a trip to P.F. Chang's fractures his family. So, fans of his character signature wit and voice will really, really enjoy this one. Enjoy all of his failures and appreciate a look into the life of the man behind the favorite shows. So, if that sounds like something that you would be interested in, head over, check it out. Again, this one is Failure is an Option, but I'll tell you what isn't an option, and that's turning down the option to head over to audibletrial.com/jumbled. Because listen, if you don't get that free 30-day trial and a free audiobook, then an angel gets syphilis, and we all know that. Absolutely should. You absolutely should. It looks like... So he's got him on a height advantage. They're both obviously right around the same weight. The thing is, McGregor's got 4 inches on his reach. So if he... I mean, he's definitely got an advantage with striking if he can...
Oh, yeah.
He can keep that distance, but also sort of... I don't know. We'll see. It should be pretty good. I think... I don't know, man. As much as I think McGregor might be... I mean, I don't know if there's going to be any ring rust to him, or if he's stayed sort of in sort of ring shape. If he's been training this whole time, I have no idea. But I would, I think McGregor's going to give a little bit more of a fight than.
I'm not saying he's going to get blown out. I'm just saying I don't think we're going to see the same McGregor that we're used to seeing.
Not going to see the hungry McGregor.
Yeah. And McGregor has been training, so I love McGregor. I don't want people to think that I'm, don't like McGregor. He makes some questionable decisions. But
sure.
Part of it is the show, and he is pretty smart at his marketing plan, I guess we'll say it that way.
It's true.
So
it's true.
I don't know if he's got it in him, honestly. But I love McGregor. He's just, I don't think his headspace is there, but he has been training, and he's also well known to be an obsessive trainer. So he definitely had his few months. He partied hard for a few months after the Mayweather fight. But then he started, posting more stuff on training. He's been training with some high level guys. He's bringing a gold medal U.S. Olympian to help train with wrestling. Which is probably going to be the biggest part of his camp, is just going to be, can I stop Khabib from taking me down? And if you can stop Khabib from taking you down, I think McGregor will keep a good chance at it. My thoughts are McGregor if McGregor knocks Khabib out, it's gonna be a sprawl to like a side hook, or it's gonna be like Khabib catching a knee going down on a panicked shot, trying to force a shot because he's getting picked apart up top. So that's where I can see it coming. But it's hard to tell. McGregor has an unorthodox style, and Khabib has a very unorthodox style, and that adds some predictability. I think the Vegas odds right now are still putting Khabib as favorite, but the news of this fight don't think has caught on as quickly as I suspected it would be, and closer to the fight, all of the McGregor fan base is going to start betting, and those odds are probably going to put McGregor as a moderate favorite on fight day, is my guess. But I think the real fight fans who have been following this and waiting for this for years, that probably thinking Khabib has McGregor's number. I would have thought Khabib had McGregor's numbers 2 or 3 years ago, which is why a lot of people said McGregor was avoiding Khabib, and now I think it's just that's amplified.
Yeah, I think it's sort of the same thing as what we saw with with Ronda Rousey whenever she fell. Whenever she took her big fall, is sort of like everybody thought she was untouchable until she went up with an actual striker.
Well, that was just poor coaching. Like, you take an Olympic level grappler and then say you're going to be a boxer now, and she had good stand up. But that wasn't her specialty, right? And you can't spend 3/4 of your life doing grappling and then 4 or 5 years and think you're going to be on the same level. And then like Rousey stood up against the opposite end of the spectrum of someone who has dedicated their entire life to kickboxing and and a little bit of grappling, right? And it's like, why would Ronda followed the coach's plan, which fell into the plan of Holly Holm, and she paid for it. And then you see later when Holly Holm fights someone who grapples her, she lost to Miesha Tate, who Ronda Rousey picked apart 4 times, like could completely dismantle Miesha Tate. But Miesha Tate beat Holly Holm. What did she do? Brought it to the ground.
Yep. So they watched what happened in that fight, and
100%.
Yeah, you don't want to stand and bang. That's not that's
not with like a 6 foot. I'm pretty sure she's Dutch. Yeah. Like,
well, yeah, probably if she's 6 feet tall.
She's a very tall Dutch woman who knows how to throw punches and kicks, and Ronda ate it, and she hasn't really fought since. Like,
that's true.
She did come back and she lost, but then she doesn't need to. And that was kind of the same idea. Yeah. Once you start doing movies, like she was kind of doing cameos in movies and then consulting on movies and, now starring in movies. And now she's just in a live action movie with the WWE getting paid probably 3 or 4 times as much. Like, the UFC doesn't pay as much as people think. Like, obviously
they used to before
they don't
everything.
Compare. Like, they're bigger now than they've ever been, but the salaries don't compare. So they're talking about McGregor getting $20 million for the Khabib fight, which is pretty big money, but I'm pretty sure
it's a fifth of what he made.
It's a fifth of what he made in boxing, and it's typically, I think his purse before the Mayweather fight was $1 to $5 million or something. Like, it's a pretty big jump.
Wow.
Like, he was a wealthy person going into the Mayweather fight. There's no doubt about it, but he didn't get $100+ million payday. Like, he quadrupled his net worth or something in that one fight.
That's insane.
Yeah. So
I don't know, man. We'll see what happens.
But that's the exciting fight breakdown news, and I cannot wait. I love the UFC. I love fighting. But I'm a little bit selective now on what I watch. I don't watch every pay-per-view. I'll typically watch them when they come out for free because I have Fight Pass. Especially if there's something cool that happens. A pretty successful fighter, Mighty Mouse, lost last weekend. And it was his first loss, and I think he was like 26-0 or something, and like had the record for most title defenses. So I'm going to watch that fight. just to get us, to see what happened. But again, it's when you're looking at, bantamweight, it's not really like Mighty Mouse, for as good as he is not a big name in UFC. Most people really like the bigger dudes. The heavyweights draw,
Sure.
even though they're not as exciting a fight sometimes.
It's true. That's true, man. I enjoy catching the. I'm not as religious about it as you are, but I'll watch them whenever there's a really big match. But
Khabib and McGregor in October. There's rumors that John Jones is going to come back and fight in November in Madison Square Garden. That would be his home city.
Oh, snap.
That's just rumors, because they released that Poirier is going to fight Nate Diaz, but that was not the main event. So there's this like speculation that John Jones might come back. He might, fight someone. Who would he fight is the question. He would obviously want to fight Daniel Cormier at light heavyweight or probably heavyweight to try and get one of those belts. But there's also rumors that Daniel Cormier is working on confirming a fight with Brock Lesnar.
Oh, no shit.
So at the end of, I don't know if we did a breakdown on the Stipe and Daniel Cormier fight.
I don't think so.
No, my boy Stipe lost, and I have some issues with how he lost, but at the end of the day, Stipe's a stand-up dude, and he owned it, and he got caught in dirty boxing, and Daniel Cormier, he's a mastermind, figured out, caught a small weakness in Stipe's game and exploited it, knocked him out, whatever. But then after the fight, Daniel Cormier calls out Brock Lesnar, and they used to be training partners, and they've competed each other. They both grew up in the wrestling world.
Mm-hmm.
And Brock Lesnar comes in and goes on this rant, and I'm paraphrasing, but basically calls Stipe a piece of shit, calls a bunch of other heavyweights a piece of shit, and shoves Daniel Cormier really hard, kind of prepping for the fight. So a lot of people were like, well, we kind of know that the DC and Brock have a history. They've grown up in the same circles. They were both college level athletes, competed and trained at the same places. So there's kind of a showmanship. Daniel Cormier's 41 now, or 40, looking for his big payday.
Older. Yeah.
He's older. So the speculation was that was slightly staged, that the next heavyweight super fight will be Brock Lesnar, DC. DC gets his big payout, whether he wins or loses, and then he retires, and then whatever happens with heavyweight. Stipe comes back hopefully, and I would love to see Stipe and DC rematch. I don't think it's gonna happen. I don't think it didn't pull the pay-per-view numbers as big as they had hoped. But that's what I feel bad for Stipe, because he's one of my favorite fighters all time. And he's a great fighter, but for whatever reason, he doesn't get the popularity as some of the other fighters. He's not as controversial. He's
it's true.
He's a full-time firefighter. He's a dad. He lives in Ohio, down to earth guy. He's not getting in trouble. He's not, beating up hookers, running people over, or throwing dollies through bus windows. He's not a shit show. That's the issue.
Maybe that's where he's gone wrong. Maybe he just needs to shake it up a little bit,
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know, maybe do some very questionable things at fire departments instead of fighting fires. There are several different things that he could do to shake it up a little bit, get his name a little bit out there.
Yeah, it's just not who he is, man. He's a salt of the earth kind of guy, and that's why I respect him, because he's your average Joe that just works really hard, and that's his thing is, I will work really hard, I will come back, I will get that belt back. So I look forward to his next fight. I support him all the way. There's not a heavyweight fighter ever that I think I would support harder than him. So
we'll see how it all pans out, man. October, I'll definitely be checking in on this McGregor Khabib fight, because it's gonna be pretty good, man.
Oh yeah, Well, I'll be getting into it. I'll be sending some social media stuff. So
Absolutely do it.
I think people are getting tired of the gross things that I send on social media all the time. So I'm going to have to step it up and share some more entertaining things.
Yeah, speaking of gross things and you. So I'm looking at a picture of, well, first of all, I'm looking at a picture of Conor McGregor, and he's got some pretty serious cauliflower ear going on.
Yes, he does.
And I think you can sort of relate to that, Johnny?
Yes. So, I mean, I've had like little bits of cauliflower, and, you know, like the swelling will go away or it's not that noticeable. It's just a little bit and whatever. A couple weeks ago, my ear exploded, which is also why I only have one headphone on because I just got back from training and it's ready to be drained again.
Jesus, man, you got to stop, dude.
Look at that bad boy.
I can't actually see your ear right now because you're frozen, but...
Oh, man. All right, well, you've seen a lot of Snapchats.
I have.
But yeah, I got a really, really bad inner ear bruise. So like my ear canal, I don't know what the inside part of your ear is. That was like bluish purple. And then the upper part, it started off as just a really kind of like the size of a thumbnail. It was like if you shoved your thumb in between your ear skin and your cartilage. That's what I had. And now it's getting worse and worse. And of course, it happens a few weeks out from my wedding.
Yeah, man, stop taking dicks to the ear or whatever you're doing.
You know,
all right, dude?
I love my dicks, okay? So it was a rough night. So I was training and I was rolling with my coach and he booped me in the forehead. I think it was I'm pretty sure it was with his forehead. But, you know, thought like whatever, in the middle of the roll, it happens. I like saw it kind of coming. He tucked my head down and he caught me right between the eyes. And then we're keep rolling and he was beating the piss out of me. And then at one point he kind of like jammed my ear with his knee a little bit. And I was like, ooh, that really hurt, but whatever. We finish the roll, like finish the round. And we kind of disconnect and he looks at me and his eyes like go really big. And he's like, oh, I made a mistake. And I was like, wait, what? He's like, I cut you. And I was like, oh, I didn't realize I was bleeding. I was worried that I was like bleeding on him. And then I felt my forehead and it wasn't bleeding, but I had the perfect dime-sized bruise in between my eyes. And so that was great. So I was like, all right, well, nothing I can do about that. I'll ice it, try and get the swelling down. And then, you know, hopefully the bruise isn't too bad. So then I went on to roll with one of my typical training partners. We were doing rounds, and I was practicing something called turtle, which is basically letting him take my back and trying to defend from, you know, attacks from the back. So I'm in turtle. I'm on my hands and knees, basically have my hands up, kind of protecting my face and my neck. And he's on my back, like kind of piggybacking, and he's ramming his hand in between like my arm, bicep, and my shoulder. And Jesus, a couple of times he just happened to catch my ear and folded my ear, and I heard, you know, when you pour milk on Rice Krispies and you hear like
that's like, a nice sound.
I don't know, that's really bad impersonation of it, but you know what I mean?
No, yeah.
So I heard
Snap,
that
crackle,
a few
and pop,
times,
dude.
and it really hurt. So I was like, ooh, this really sucks. Again, finish the round, whatever, we disconnect, and he looks at me, and his eyes light up. He's like, dude, your ear is something else. And I went in there I had a little, like a very, very, very minor bit of swelling. Like you could kind of feel that it was just starting to puff, but it wasn't filled with fluid yet. It looked like someone shoved grapes in my ear, like red grapes. And I felt it and it was just like, God damn it. So I get home.
Probably very tender, I would assume.
Oh yeah, it was very, very tender. So I get home and Cody is home and he comes upstairs and he's talking to me and he looks at me and I'm working on my computer trying to catch up on some work after training, and he just shakes his head and he's like, dude, you look so fucked up. So I had this bruise in between my eyes. I had like a big scratch like down the side of my nose canal into my lip, and then my ear is just swollen massively and starting to bruise. And I was like, yeah, today was a rough night. Al's not going to go well. And then immediately after I say that, Al's like FaceTiming me. And because she's traveling for work, and I'm like, God.
So you like
damn
got
it.
the phone. You got the phone an inch from your face.
Yeah, so I'm kind of like looking this way, which conveniently is my good ear. So she kind of just thought I was listening, and then she was asking like, "Oh, how was the gym? Like, what were we doing? Blah blah blah. How are the guys?" And then I kind of turned, and she noticed my forehead, and then she was like, John, we're getting married in like 3 weeks, 4 weeks. Like, what are you doing? Scuffing up your face?" And I was like, "Well, what if I told you that wasn't the worst part?" And she's like, "What?" And then I just slowly turned my head to the left so she could see like my cheek scuff and my ear. And she's like, "God damn it, John. God damn it." She was so mad at me.
Yeah, dude. And yet here you are, man. You're just
still giving her
draining your ear every
2
days or whatever.
Yeah,
Twice a day.
I should be trying to do 3 times a day, but I don't want to do it at work, so I just deal with it.
Wow.
So the next day I get to the gym, or I think I took the next day off because I had to work late, and then the day after I went to the gym, and my coach is in the middle of explaining. Like, we're all kind of sitting, against the wall, and he's showing a technique, and then he stops and he looks at me, and he just is like, "Holy fuck, you got a bad case of cauliflower ear. I can't even look at you right now. You look hideous." And he's like, "That's maybe the worst I've seen in a long time." I was like, "God damn it, Jeff." He's like, "What happened?" And I was like, "Well, you're partially to blame for this, Jeff." And he's like, "Me? No, I don't want any of that blame because I know your fiance and she is not going to be happy."
Yeah, dude.
And I was like, "Yeah." So, now I'm on the lovely draining regiment of I'm sucking out probably 5 to 6 milliliters a day of blood from my ear, which it doesn't sound like a lot, but I've sent you a picture of the syringe. Like, it's quite a few cc's. It's a few hundred cc's of blood I'm sucking out of my ear twice a day. And
how long does that go on for?
Well, so here's the thing. Basically, it's like a giant blood blister inside of your ear. And if you leave it be, it will eventually settle, and the vein, or I guess the capillary in your ear that's leaking, will eventually close up. And that the gunk in your ear will eventually harden. So what you'll see is some guys who do it all the time and don't care, aside from it being painful, won't drain all the time. They'll let it harden because it kind of adds a layer. I do not want it to harden because I work in an office job. I don't mind a little bit of ear disfiguration because there's kind of a badass factor to it, but I don't want to walk around with, grapes in my ear. So I've been draining it.
Apparently your ears aren't necessary, as we've discussed in the whistling ear holes episode. So maybe just lop it off, dude. You don't need it.
Just cut it off. Problem solved. So I'm draining it, and it might take a few weeks of constant draining before that capillary cauterizes and frees up, and then another one could rupture and I could start getting it in a different place. But luckily those hypodermic needles are 25 cents each, so it's not a huge expense, and it's not the most enjoyable experience to do because I'm essentially piercing my ear multiple times a day. You try not to go right through, but you're still getting, and if you let it sit for too long, it starts to get this weird kind of hard sac around the blood. So it's like my skin, and then there's this hard, so you can actually like poke the needle and the needle won't go in, and then it'll pop it a little bit, and you'll hear this kind of like, and you'll feel it go in, and then you just plunge it out of the blood, and it almost looks like a normal ear.
That's disgusting, dude. It's really gross.
So you love the Snapchats I've been sending you of a bloody ear.
Oh, dude,
a syringe
you know what? Actually, I've been finding some spots in my day to carve out a little bit of me time.
Just to my ear blood.
Just to your ear blood, not to the other things that you're sending, just to the ear blood. That's it.
So in this process, I did learn that there's some kind of weird, I don't want to say fetish, but like a love of, and there's a technical term, but basically a popping bodily thing. So like pimples or picking scabs.
Oh yeah. Every once in a while, I'll venture onto that side of YouTube.
So
Dr. Pimple Popper.
Yeah, a lot of people have been like, "Dude, make a video. I want to see this." And I'm like, that's kind of weird. And the first time I drained it, I sent the Snapchat of the syringes saying, let's do this. And Cody came running upstairs and was like, you're going to do it. Let me watch. And that kid maybe had an erection. Like, he was real excited. And I was a little bit nervous, but he was like, let me help. Let me do it. Can I pull the syringe? Can I do it? And I was like, 1, you're not stabbing me. 2, you're a little bit too excited. Like, this is past like curiosity and into like, if I was blindfolded, you'd probably be beaten off right now.
How many rabbits am I gonna find in my backyard that have just been mutilated?
Yeah, that's also, and I was like, oh, you're taking it to a point where I'm not really that comfortable, but it was helpful because he did pull the plunger, and now that I got my technique down, it's pretty easy to do it on my own. But it was helpful to have him, help out a little bit, I guess.
Sure, I guess. So swiftly moving away from that, if we have any preteens or early teens that listen to this show, I'm sorry, because your favorite social media platform is shutting down. Musically.
Wait,
did you hear about that? Musically? Did you hear about it?
I've never heard of Musically.
Really? Musical.ly whatever?
No, I've never heard of it.
So,
but I'm not in touch with cool things either. We know that.
No, well, yeah, but the whole point of this app, well, first of all, they were bought out by some Chinese company or Japanese company or something. So they've been folded into, their user base has been folded into another platform. But the whole point of this website is they take like music clips and they slow them down or they speed them up, whichever you want to do, and then you record your face without any audio, just a recording of the video with the music, and then you can sort of like lip sync or whatever, and then you just put it on social media. I don't give a shit about it. I haven't even done it.
That's a thing that people want to do?
Apparently, and it was pretty popular with the
preteens. The
preteens. There's a lot of preteens, a lot of braces. If you ever went on Musically, there's a whole lot of metal.
And not
over there,
Musically metal, I'm assuming.
No, not Metallica. We're not talking like we're not talking about any hard rock here. We're talking about some
orthodontics.
Some orthodontics, yes, some major orthodontics. A lot of rubber bands too. But yeah, they're shutting it down, man. Like I said, they're folding them into another user base called TikTok or something like that. But I've never heard of that one.
I'm gonna look into this because now I'm intrigued, because this seems like such a dumb concept, but someone probably made a few $1 million off it, so fucking good for them.
It's really dumb, and some of them are like really awkward to watch.
Yeah, is there like a YouTube best of Musically?
Probably.
I'm gonna look it up. I'm gonna give this a view because I really want to understand what's going on here.
Musical.ly is what it looks like, but yeah, so they're shutting it down. I don't know if it's already happened, if it's going to happen. I mean, it is going to happen if it hasn't already happened, but that's so sorry to our preteen listeners. First of all, you shouldn't be listening to this episode because we've talked about some pretty gross.
Yeah, but this hasn't been the worst episode, that's for sure.
No, I think we can
have an explicit rating, so
we do. You were warned before you even clicked play.
Exactly. So go fuck yourself, kid.
I like that attitude. Also, on the topic of sex, did you ever watch Smallville?
No.
Okay.
I wanted to, but because I enjoy comic books, even though I don't really like DC and I don't like Spider-Man, I don't like Superman because I think he's a cop-out. But I am imagining you're going to a bit of a conversation that you had with Jared last week, which I have not listened to that episode yet, but I will, and then we can talk about it. But does this have something to do with the sex ring that was going on?
Yes.
Yeah, your world was opened up in that conversation, wasn't it?
A little bit, yeah. So I mean, I obviously haven't been like diving deep into conspiracies or anything, but I think it's pretty crazy that just out in the middle of everywhere, there's Alison Mack, who was on Smallville. I don't remember
her character, but I did look her up after. She's she's still pretty hot. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
I'd let her suck me into a sex ring if I was single.
I was trying to figure out what the name of the sex cult meant. NXIVM.
I don't know. God, who knows? So the crazy part about this, and I'll preface this with, I love Jer. He's one of my best friends. I've known him my entire life. When he first started going down this rabbit hole of conspiracy theories, he would talk a lot about these crazy sex rings. And I was just like, dude, you're watching, too many movies. You're fucking out to lunch. Like, this is not real life. And he's been like, no, man, this is happening. And he would send like, here's proof, here's proof, here's proof. And then this case comes up. And I was just like, holy fuck. Jared was right the entire time. And what else is Jared right about? Now I'm getting real stressed.
Yeah, well, I mean, I feel like he's right about more than we think.
Yeah, this one's an interesting one. So I want to get into it, but I want to be able to go through the episode and take some notes. Okay. And I haven't had time to actually like truly listen to it and not just have it on the background because I want to do a debrief. I apologize that I wasn't there.
It's all good.
I was building a deck.
How'd that end up? Did you end up finishing it?
The deck is done. Finished it last weekend.
Nice, dude.
My aunt and uncle came in super clutch. I was actually really, really grateful. My mom and my stepdad came. Well, my mom came. My stepdad was actually in Iowa doing the reg bike race, riding for Team Graceland. So my mom came, and my dad and my stepmom came, and my aunt and uncle came from another province to help. So this Saturday, I had a bunch of little busy workers, which was great. The weather wasn't the best, so it kind of rained us out in the afternoon. Yeah. And then the Sunday, it was beautiful, and we started hammering out the deck. Just me, Cody to help, my aunt, uncle, and Allie. And during the design phase, so Allie and I designed the deck to dimensions with horizontal boards. And then when my uncle came and we pulled up all the joists and did everything, he said, this would look really cool if we added 8 inches to the length or to the width of the deck, sorry. And then the cutoff would fit perfectly for supports for the joist. I was like, hey, that's pretty cool. So cleared it with the boss. And she's like, yeah, okay, it makes sense. It doesn't affect the sidewalk or anything. She was a little stressed about permits, but whatever. And then at that point, she's like, well, if we're doing that, can we do horizontal boards? Or not horizontal, like diagonal boards, sorry. Yeah. Which is pretty popular in decks and Pinterest right now. And I was like, okay, yeah, we could do that. And talk to my uncle. He's like, yeah, it'll look better. It takes a little bit more time, but it'll look better. So okay, let's do it. Did the quick math in my head, was like, okay, so we added 8 inches. Plus now we're doing diagonal boards, which we're cutting off almost 2 feet of. We're going to be really tight on wood, but let's do the best we can, see what happens. So we got to about 90% done and ran out of wood.
Oh, no.
And it was a long weekend in Canada. And we discovered this on Sunday, so everything was closed. And the stores that were open on the holiday Monday didn't have the decking that I was using. And the ones that did were closed. So I was pretty frustrated and whatever. I got to spend a good day with my aunt and uncle, which was nice. But them being the amazing family that they are, I went to work on the Tuesday thinking that I was going to come home and finish the deck with my uncle. They went out and got the wood and finished it up for us and then left that night. And I was incredibly appreciative. They really wanted the deck to be done because we're doing an after wedding party barbecue at our house.
Nice.
On the Sunday. And we wanted to host it at our house because everyone's staying at the hotel close to our house. But our deck was in dire need of repair. So we pounded it out, and they knew that it had to get done, and they knew that I was really busy with work. So shout out to my Auntie Joan and Uncle Bob. Thanks for pulling through solidly, and obviously to my parents as well for helping, including my mom, who got a little bit dirty. I was proud of her.
That's what's up. That's what's up, man. It's good to have family around to pitch in and help you out whenever.
Yeah, everyone found a role and no one complained and just did what they could wherever they could, and it went pretty smooth.
That's awesome, dude. All right. Well, I wanted to say about that Smallville thing. I don't think we got too deep into it, so it's probably just a portion of our discussion on last week's episode.
Okay.
So when you listen back to it, I mean, there's not like a 30-minute portion or anything that we covered.
Well, I think it's an interesting concept, and there's some weird things going on in the world that we clearly don't know about, and Jer might be more right than some of the skeptics think. And if he's right about this, who are we to say he's not right about other things? God, I hope he's wrong about lizard people. I don't want to deal with lizard people.
No, me either. When I think of lizard people, I think of wasn't there like a Ninja Turtle character who was like a big iguana or something like that, like a muscular iguana dude?
I don't know if it's Ninja Turtles, maybe, but there was definitely one that Spider-Man fought against.
That might be it. It was one of the. I was big into Spider-Man and Ninja Turtles growing up, so it could have been either one of those.
Yeah, there's definitely Spider-Man had a lizard dude that he forgot and that he fought, and now I've forgotten his name. It's gonna drive me fucking nuts.
That's probably what it was. But yeah, I'm willing to eat crow. Like I have no problem eating crow if Jared's right about these things. I can admit when I'm wrong about something. No problem.
You're a good man.
I hope that he's not right for the sake of all of us, because they seem pretty scary.
Yeah. If there was one for Jared to be wrong about, I hope it's the lizard people.
Yeah. Yeah, let's bank on that. Although if they all look like Mark Zuckerberg, I'm pretty sure we're good.
Yeah, but they could look like Mark Zuckerberg and have super strength. We don't know. Or he could transform. Did you not hear the story about people on a plane that saw Jay-Z Jay-Z was getting upset and then was transforming into a lizard person?
No, but and then he was save that one. Save it, dude.
All right, we'll talk about that later.
Write it down.
I'm writing it down right now.
All right, great.
Jay-Z, a lizard.
That's such a weird note. You're going to be like, what the fuck does that mean? All right, let's wrap it up, guys. Thanks for sticking around for this one. Hope you enjoyed. Check us out on all the social media. Just search for Jumbled Podcast. If you want to send us an email, you know how to do it, jumbledpodcast@gmail.com. We are all over the place as far as where you want to listen. We're on Spotify as of a couple weeks ago. Still there. They haven't kicked us off yet, which is good. We're on all the other places that I always talk about, so just look for us there. And we are also, I submitted us to TuneIn, which is another platform. We're on there as well. So if you listen on TuneIn or if you listen on Stitcher or wherever, you're going to find us. Tell your friends about us and spread the word. Spread the good word about Jumbled. We would appreciate that. Want to give a shout out to our sponsor Audible. Head over to audibletrial.com/jumbled for your free 30-day trial and a free audiobook. And if you want to be a patron and you want to see me and Jonny dress up like women, $500 at Patreon.
Do it. Do it.
I will
shave my legs.
Oh man, it's just gonna be.
The tuck.
It's good. Well, you know what? I won't need to master it because apparently I'm doing some really indescribable things to my testicles later. So, Daddy needs a new microphone. So head over to patreon.com/jumbled. Give what you can, and that would be great. That's going to do it, guys. But be sure to check back next week for another episode of Jumbled, your favorite podcast.
About Zach's soon-to-be crushed testicles.
The Mega Testy, dude.
Mega Testy! That needs to be the name of this.
Yeah, we could do that. We'll see you guys.
Night. Mega Testy, how are you? How are you? Zach's gonna piss blood tonight. Zach's gonna piss blood tonight. Hey, yay.